So, hello, welcome back to another episode of the Self-Dwell More Tactics podcast. Today we're going ahead with The Psychology of Wealth by Morgan, Housel or something. I don't remember. Anyway, we are going ahead with chapter or number 3, whatever, never enough. And I kind of anticipate what this is going to be about. But let's see. Life isn't any fun without a sense of enough. Happiness, as it said, is just results minus expectations. I'm going to add something to the whole happiness, quote-unquote, debate or thing with having enough of it, thinking that you have enough of it, and so on and so forth. But at first I want to go through what he's writing and or talking about. Enough is not too little. Enough is realizing that the opposites and insatiable appetite for more will push you to the point of regret. The hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. But it is one of the most important. If expectations rise with results, there is no logic in striving for more because you'll feel the same after putting in extra effort. It gets dangerous when the taste of having more money, more power, more prestige increases ambition faster than satisfaction. Social comparison is the problem here. The point is that the ceiling of social comparison is so high that virtually no one will ever hit it, which means it is a battle that can never be won, or that the only way to win is to not fight to begin with. To accept that you might have enough, even if it is less than those around. There is no reason to risk what you have and need for what you do, and need for what you don't have and don't need. There are many things never worth risking, no matter the potential gain. Maintaining a lifestyle below what you can afford is avoiding the psychological treadmill of keeping up with the Joneses. Note, see voluntary simplicity. So in terms of happiness, which is totally something that I am struggling with. I am struggling with happiness quite a lot, to be honest. And this is solely based on the fact that I am not satisfied. And this is also one of the reasons why I know that no matter how much money I'm going to have, I guess that I'm never going to be satisfied. I guess that I'm never going to be happy, So the thing is, for me, it really is the case to work as hard as I can now to be happy and see my happiness, and feel my happiness and achieve my happiness, whatever the fuck that I'm doing. Because happiness is a choice. Happiness is something that we decide to do, something that we decide to feel. And obviously, when you're not getting enough and you're not happy right now, well, you're probably also not going to be happy when you've achieved whatever the fuck you wanted to achieve, because you still think, well, it is not enough. There's still something I could theoretically be doing. And I do think that there's never going to be the point of you having achieved everything that you were able to, I really doubt that. I really, really heavily doubt that. So I think it does make sense to, no matter what position you are in, to try to work as hard to make yourself happy and feel your happiness and see your happiness, and be happy even though you have not reached your goal yet. But still, who says that you're going to be happier once you reach it, if you're not happy right now? Confounding compounding, which is the fourth one. If something compounds, if a little growth serves as the fuel for future growth, a small starting base can lead to results so extraordinary they seem to defy logic. It can be so logic-defying that you underestimate what's possible, where growth comes from, and what it can lead. And also yesterday, as I gone through the summary of the summary, by the way, the first episode includes a summary of the summary, which kind of talks about all the main points there is in a summary, and briefly describes it and briefly says what it is all about. Of course, there is way more to it, and but still, I think it is a pretty good position to start from, and or to just move ahead from, once you know all the points, all the basic things anyway. But it really reminded me of compound interest, When you invest over time a relatively small sum of money into certain assets, then, things and all your money can really, really, really grow a lot, which is, I don't know, I think it is known by now fairly well by quite a bunch of people, but probably not by everyone. 81.5 billion of Warren Buffett's 84.5 billion net worth came after his 65th birthday. Really? Our minds are not built to handle such absurdities. His skill is investing, but his secret is time. That is how compounding works. If you want to better as an investor, the single most powerful thing you can do is increase your time horizon. Time is the most powerful force in investing. Good investing isn't necessarily about earning the highest returns, because the highest returns tend to be one-off hits that can't be repeated. It's about earning pretty good returns that you can stick with and which can be repeated for the longest period of time. That is when compounding runs wild. Very easy example. You invest $100. Those $100 in 1 year with a return of 5% make you $5. So you start into the next year with $105. It also just really depends on whether you continually invest in it. But let me just stick to this small and easy example. So the next year you're gonna have the same 5%, but this time the starting point, the base, is $105. So it is not gonna be $5 that you're gonna gain, but it's gonna be more. I don't know how much it's gonna be, but then you're gonna end up with more, not $5 added to it, like from $100 to 105, but you're gonna end up with, I don't know, maybe 112-ish something, maybe 14, I don't know, something around that. So the third year, you're gonna start with 513, and so the next base is 513. So if you once again add 5% to your money, it's gonna be more than the 5% from $100, and this is compounding. Over time, things just increasingly and progressively get more compound. Yeah, I know. Because things exponentially rise, because once you start something, then you add a percentage to that, and then the overall percentage increases, and so on and so forth. I think you get what I mean. The fifth one, getting wealthy versus staying healthy, wealthy, whatever. There are a million ways to get wealthy, but there is only one way to stay wealthy. Some combination of frugality and paranoia. Good investing is not necessarily about making good decisions. It is about consistently not screwing up, which I think is actually kind of the case, especially combined with compound interest. You do not really have to invest too much of your money, but it is going to compound, and it is going to do, fairly well, I'd say. If I had to summarize money success in a single word, it would be survival. Getting money requires taking risks, being optimistic, and putting yourself out there. But keeping money requires the opposite of taking risk. It requires humility and fear that what you've made can be taken away from you just as fast. It requires frugality and an acceptance that at least some of what you've made is attributable to luck. So past success can't be relied upon to repeat indefinitely. The ability to stick around for a long time without wiping out or being forced to give up is what makes the big difference, or the biggest difference even. This should be the cornerstone of your strategy, whether it is investing or your career, or a business you own. There are two reasons why a survival mentality is so key with money. One is the obvious. Few gains are so great that they are worth wiping yourself out over. Yeah, quite. The other is the counterintuitive math of compounding. Compounding only works if you can give an asset years and years to grow. More than I want big returns, I want to be financially unbreakable. And if I am unbreakable, I actually think I'll get the biggest returns because I'll be able to stick around for long enough for compounding to work wonders. Totally the case. Maybe also one of the reasons why it does not really make sense to invest so much money that you risk not being able to sustain that. Because in the end, you are gonna shed off years, especially in the end, that really are worth it. Just think about it. If you're having, let's say, $1 million on your investment account, so you're gonna add 5% to that. That is quite a lot. Okay, then you stop. You take your money, you go away, whatever. But if you just let it sit there for an additional, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, then it's going to be 1,200,000 or something. So the more time that you shed off the whole thing, especially towards the end, the less money you basically make. Of course, there has to be an end. There has to be a point of time where you just say, okay, I just want to have my money. I'm old enough to just have a good life or whatnot. Planning is important, but the most important part of every plan is to plan on the plan, not going according to plan. Many bets fail not because they were wrong, but because they were mostly right in a situation that required things to be exactly right. Room for error, often called margin of safety, is one of the most underappreciated forces in finance. It comes in many forms: a frugal budget, flexible thinking, and a loose timeline. Anything that lets you live happily with a range of outcomes. Which really makes sense if you also think about that. A barbelled personality, optimistic about the future but paranoid about what will prevent you from getting to the future, is vital. Which also really makes sense, being quite cautious, I think, in the present, I would say, just because you want to ensure that your future is going to be giving you certain possibilities, which really makes sense, Why would I? Why would I just be doing things differently? It is really a good idea, I would say, or something. The sixth one, tails you win. A lot of things in business and investing work this way. Long tails, the farthest ends of distribution of a distribution of outcomes, have tremendous influence in finance, where a small number of events can account for the majority of outcomes. Yeah, they can be hard to deal with even if you understand the math. It is not intuitive that an investor can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune. It means we underestimate how normal it is for a lot of things to fail, which causes us to overreact when they do. Anything that is huge, profitable, famous, or influential is the result of a tail event. An outlying, yeah, it's been right. 1 in 1,000 or millions events, and most of our attention goes to things that are huge, profitable, famous, or influential. When most of what we pay attention to is the result of a tail, it's easy to underestimate how rare and powerful they are. A good definition of an investment genius is the man or woman who can do the average thing when all those around them are going crazy. Tails drive everything. So in the end, it really is the case, A very, very, very small amount of people have the majority of the money of the world. Period. And then there is a huge, 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 huge tail with people included, probably billionaires. Depends on, the size of the graph, depends on just how you're viewing it and how you're plotting it. But potentially, yeah, And of course also me, like somebody that's not having 1 million, that's not having 100K, and so on and so forth. Like, I'm also part of the tail of the whole thing, but on the very front, we're having people like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, a very small amount of people that do just have a lot of money. And so in the end, one could be like, well, if I have one hit in my entire life, I'm going to be fine. Period, because this one moment, this one event that I'm going to have in my life, this is going to account for the majority of money that I'm going to make. Period. Which probably is also the case for your job, the overall amount of years that you're working and earning money, probably a relatively, very important, relatively small amount of these years, you're gonna just get the highest payment. or salary, whatever. Probably. And the rest of the years and or the rest of your life, you are just having the long tail. You're not making as much as this time or in this period, but you're still making money, or you maybe are not making any money, and so on and so forth. So on one hand, a very small amount of things can or are probably gonna contribute to the majority of something else, but still there is a long tail, which includes quite a lot of opportunities, which in the end can make things also pretty nice. Of course, the long tail of the world's wealth, it's still a lot of money, still probably gonna be, I don't know, 100 million something, at least, probably even way more, 100 billion, I'm sorry, probably, just way more. So yeah, I'm gonna end the episode there, I guess. I think that this is a pretty good point to stop. I wish you the best and see you soon. Bye bye.